influencers. And it's very picky. There's 5 million influencer companies and influencers out there. These women know how to dress and how to look to make people buy things, right? So I think it's great for marketing because it's all about aesthetics and convincing that person that they need what you got. Yeah. Yes?
Do you have any investors? And if so, was that more like you reaching out to them, or was that more organic as you started growing?
We don't have any investors by choice. From the beginning, I wanted it to be cash-based. I don't know why. I am that girl that wants to put it all in a jar under my mattress, you know? It's just how I was raised, kind of. I'm learning about investing and things like that. So I have not taken an investor. I didn't take the Shark Tank investor. Like I said, I don't have a line of credit or any credit card debt. I just used the profit to organically dump back in and grow the business without taking a paycheck the first year and a half or so. And I had to go at my own pace for that. So obviously I could have grown a little bit differently had I had an investment where I could just sink it all in and start, you know, but I didn't. I just kind of built the little nest egg slowly. And that's just by choice. That's just how I operate. Most people like investors. They like to have a backer. They like to have financial security. You know, I mean, if our bank account drains, I'll be knocking on y'all's doors looking for a job. I'll be like, remember me? You know. So I think if you're looking for an investor for a product or an idea, that's what investment groups are for, and making contacts with people and building relationships with people who invest in things is probably the best route to go.
So everything that came from Makeup Junkie, it's all just cash? Like your makeup line, the dude junk, like none of there's no investment into anything? Like there's no outside investment?
No, we like I said, that first year out of my home with very low overhead, low employment, and very high sales, a lot of sweat equity, right? A lot of my time, I had, you want to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, I had nights where I was like, I am a horrible mother. Here I am sewing again, working again. They're watching a movie again. Oh my gosh, am I a good mom? You know, I had moments like that. A lot of sweat equity in the beginning that resulted in a lot of sales, very low overhead, and a nice little cash ball to get me started. So that's kind of how that happened, just being smart with the finances. And other than the big fabric order that almost sunk our ship, you know, being smart about how I spent the cash.
Would you be interested, or do you already support any local nonprofits?
We partner with many nonprofits, actually. We're always happy to entertain new partners. So we do it on an annual basis. We try to donate anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000 a year to nonprofits, different charities, things like that, events, fundraisers, stuff like that. So you would just get my contact, submit it, and say we'd like to be considered for a nonprofit partner for 2020. Let us know what you do, and we just kind of sit together as, I call it the board, but it's really just my sales team, but I like to call it the board. So I'll sit with the board, and we'll go over it and make our selections. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
So what have you found as you're hiring employees and growing, and also now you don't just have to be a seamstress, now you have to be a leader? What's that transition been like for you?
A lot of fake it till you make it. There's days that, you know, I mean, at work I try to dress very professionally, you know, the heels, the slacks, everything, just so they take me more seriously. But I'm a person too, and sometimes I just want to throw on some Converse and a sweatshirt and be like, let's work, y'all. You know, so I had to discover slowly how they responded to me as a boss and figure out what would benefit my business best. So I try to find a happy medium with that. There's still days I walk into a staff meeting and can't believe there's that many people in the room, or can't believe, you know, what we're doing or what we're building, or we have teams and stuff. So I try to keep right in the middle of sharing too much of myself but being too cold and corporate, because if either way you go too far, either way you're in trouble. You know what I mean? You just are. So I think being confident that I know what's best for the company, despite what employees, I take their opinions, but at the end of the day, I know what's best, I feel. And that's just because it's your baby, it's your business, right? And you could have the biggest expert person in the world saying, do it this way, but you know. So as a boss, I think just trying to show them that I care about what they think. I'm there for them emotionally, but professionally, and trying to make sure that every move I make, that they all watch. You know, you walk into a room and you know, oh, she's here. Quick, get to work. You know, just kidding. But making sure that I can feel the gravity of the room. Like one day I walked into one of my warehouses and I was just like, something is awry. Well, there was an altercation, like not a physical one, but words exchanged between two seamstresses that got their feelings hurt, you know, and we have a very happy work environment. We're very known for it. Fun, fun, fun. And so I just took them in the conference room, and I was like, we're going to talk about this. Like, we're at the supper table. Tell me why your feelings are hurt. Tell me why yours are. And they were hugging by the end of it, you know. So I don't know how professional that was, but I felt like, I know. Speaking of professional, I hide like fake rats and fake snakes everywhere, and I tape the water faucets. I'm a horrible boss. So,
yeah. How old are your girls now?
4 and 7.
So do they understand moving it from the house to what mom's doing?
Yes, so obviously, since we just are hitting 3 years right now, they were little, they grew up with the company, and they love it. They, you know, every time they walk in the office, they're like tornadoes. My staff's like, oh God, please don't let them near my desk. They tape things and put Post-its everywhere and write love notes and pass them out. It's funny. But yeah, they know, Mommy sells makeup bags, and my oldest will be like, how long are you going to sell those makeup bags? And I'm like, Godspeed and God willing, for a really long time, you know? So they grew up with the business, and Makeup Junkie is a very vague brand, and so obviously I know there's going to be some point where every woman who knows about us has one, right? So that's why I'm trying to expand into other lines that can carry the brand's name so that we don't flounder.
Has anybody tried to copy what you do?
Yes. But my lawyer says I can't talk about that right now. So. Yeah. Yes. But not... luckily, not anything that's too threatening to my company or sales or anything like that. So very blessed in that nature. Yes.
How did you handle the transition from it being just you and then the growth when you have to let go of the quality control and the hiring people and all of that kind of stuff? What was that process like?
It's a little hard because I think if you have enough gumption to start a business, I think that you are a little bit of a control freak, a little bit inside, you know. So, and thinking, nobody does it better than me. Nobody will love it as much as I do. That's true in a lot of cases, but if you find the right people, like I said, with hiring, feel that chemistry. You know, when you sit down for an interview, you know, you either know this is not going to be a second date. Lose my phone number, please. This is not going to happen. Or you just fall madly in love and you're like, I cannot wait to invite this person to work here. So just trusting your gut of who you hire and things like that. People, that be very careful with your confidential information. Don't be too trusting. That's what I would say. Guard it until you're sure you don't have to guard it anymore. And then put your trust in people. I was burning the candle at both ends. I travel constantly for work, for my job. So I had to let go, because if I was the only person who could do those things and I had to be gone so that we could get more sales and go meet all these wonderful people so that, you know, we'd get bigger, then who was going to, I couldn't do it all. I literally almost had to adapt to delegation because I'm one person, and I have a management team that has teams under them, so they're my go-to. We meet every week. We kind of square everything away. They're people I trust and are really great at what they do. So it's just a matter of finding the people that will be there for you, and like I said, it was a necessary adaptation. I couldn't do it all anymore, so I had to delegate. Now they say I delegate too much. You know, I'll sit there, I'll be like, turn the light switch off, turn it back on. I'm just kidding. Yes.
So it seems like you have a really powerful mindset. Do you have a specific author or speaker or someone that you feel like influenced that mindset?
I get asked that a lot. Not so much a specific one. I've always been very, like my grandmother would say, she doesn't like to watch grass grow. I've always been a mover, so never staying stagnant. You know what I mean? Like, no, I get stagnant on the couch sometimes with like a Netflix binge, but I mean like in business, right? So, what am I trying to say? Yes, where you're, I know they say be in the moment and live in the moment. You should do that, right? But have you ever seen like a talent show where someone's like dancing and someone's on deck? Always be present to understand the act that's on the stage, because that's who has the limelight right now, but I always have something on deck. Like even now, we have astronomical sales, you know, especially since Shark Tank aired this year, but I know it's going to come to an end at some point, and I'm lining up many, many people on deck for when that day happens, and we have to do something else to keep shoveling coal into the engine. So I would say just people who own businesses. I obviously follow a lot of CEOs and entrepreneurs and how they built their businesses. Like the Sarah Blakely, the CEO of Spanx, that was on my Shark Tank episode, started in her apartment and said, basically lied to the people at Oprah and said that she had like this team and they were having a meeting, and then they wanted to fly out to her headquarters and it was her apartment. So I find that funny. She mailed somebody a shoe and said, "I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. Call me, please." So I think that being clever and appealing to someone's heart and humor instead of just being cold and commercial helps a lot. And lots of male and female CEOs, like Kendra Scott, started making jewelry at her UT apartment. I really love those stories because it reminds me of what happened to me. I never knew I'd have a business. It just literally grew, on its own. So I just always have something in the background. Yes.
So you're 3 years in, and you have had tremendous success. What does 5 years look like for you? Like, have you done any forward-thinking strategy for what a plateau might look like, or are you looking at?
I mean, we try to. I think that since the company's so new and the historical data of my business, when you're on a TV show, the sales and the data that come from that are not authentic, right? There's a tidal wave that comes after the show, and then eventually it wanes. So I would say by 5 years, which is in a couple more years, we should have a better look at what Makeup Junkie really is on a regular, normal basis, what sales patterns look like, what customer demand is. Did I answer that or no, or did I completely go the opposite direction?
I was curious what your strategic planning process looks like.
Growth, definitely having your own manufacturing. So everything you're wearing, your shoes, your socks, your tie, your sweater, everything is pretty much made overseas, even some of the highest end brands that we wear. And so having a US-based manufacturing team that started with makeup bags is so powerful. Oh, y'all are tired of my makeup bags? Let me show you my clothing line. I'm going to be a shoemaker. You can do anything when you have manufacturing. So my 5-year plan is brand expansion. We have like curling iron covers for packing with thermal resistant interiors coming out. We have handbags, we have purses, we have lots of fun things coming out. Have you ever seen Project Runway? So they have to make a dress. We have MJ Runway happening in December. All my seamstresses get to design the next big product, and we have a panel that is comprised of an influencer, a store owner, a celebrity kind of guest, and so we're going to pick the next big product, and they get this big cash bonus and public acclaim because the company still owns the design. But always trying to grow. I want to be one of the biggest product US-based manufacturers when I'm old and gray. That's my dream. So, yeah.
How do you manage to be the basic business owner and being a mom?
It was hard in the beginning when I talked about, especially when I worked from home and I didn't have very many employees. I had to do it all, and then I would have to make choices. I feel like I'm a bad mom. Am I neglecting them? Oh my God, they're watching Finding Nemo a 5th time? What's wrong with that? But that was a necessary evil. I don't think we would have grown quickly if I had not done that. So I kind of made that choice. Some people might think it's a selfish choice. I'm still a wonderful mother, spend a lot of time with my kids. There's just a lot of bags around us while we're spending time together. I have a lot of, now as it looks, I have an amazing staff. I can be normal. I can go home, pick them up from school, spend the weekends with them. They're with me all the time. In the summertime, they get to stay with me at the office. They have their little couch and their little TV. And, so while I had a really hard year with it, it's really balanced out, and now it's even more beneficial to my children how it is now. But it wasn't always like that way. Lots of tears, lots of guilt in the beginning, to be honest. Okay.
It's 1 o'clock. I just want to make sure that you're okay on time.
Probably 10, I can do about 10 more minutes. That sound good?
Great.
Anybody else? Yes.
You're obviously successful and very driven, so it means you have to have some good positive habits. So what do you do every single day that you insist on doing and you don't miss it?
The wine. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
I'm there. Okay.
I know. Maybe scotch in a few years if things get hairy. I always take about an hour a day for myself. At the office, you walk in, and I have a job to do, and they all have a job to do. They can't do their job without me answering questions, things like that. Whether I go to a restaurant by myself, which I do all the time. Every Tuesday I'm at Morton's, okay? Just come say hi to me. So I go for an hour, take myself out to lunch, have a moment in my own headspace. Whether I leave an hour early to go pick my kids up from school and sit in the car line, or whether I go into the office an hour later after I drop my girls off at school, 1 hour is almost what I need to be a normal person, right? To think about what I have going on personally in my life, what I have to do, you know, oh God, it's sister's birthday, do this, you know, all that stuff, because if you just wake up and do the kids and go straight to the office and then rush here, you don't get that minute, and then you feel like you're floundering. It makes me anxious when I don't do it, like I don't have a good bird's eye view of my day. So I do that. Another good, and the wine. Let's see, what other good habits do I have, Jesse?
Habits?
I know, I'm like, I know. Yeah, we're pretty much go, go, go. I think that that's important, though, taking a quiet minute for yourself to reflect on your job, your personal life, and to make sure you're not forgetting anything important. Anybody else?
Do you export?
Not really. We have like 2 stores in Australia, 1 in United Kingdom, 10 in Canada, but that's basically it. It's not. I have a rep in Dubai, but she comes to the U.S. twice a year, so she just takes tons of bags back with her and sells them there. So not really. Maybe like a little drop. Yes.
I'll give a testimonial.
Okay.
I'm Becky in the room, by the way.
Yeah. No offense.
Several of your bags, and I love that, you know, even my team loves it too. So it's something that, you know, is well made, that I
Thank
love,
you.
but then it's something that we give as gifts. And so I just, for those that aren't familiar with it, it's a wonderful product.
Yes.
Yeah,
So.
we're makeup junkies.
Oh, she has one. Oh, look how pretty this one is. Let's show this one off. This is a peacock bag, but she has a ton of makeup in there, and there's like a ton of room left. Packs completely flat.
Oh yeah, that's the
So-
light version.
Yes.
So I have a question about